Hello everyone, welcome to Nixie Bobs, and I don't feel like I'm high enough for you today. I feel like I'm way too far down. We are here today for a little bit of makeup review and demo. I would say it's a first impression, but it's kind of not, because I have been trialing this out for 2 days, which is fantastic because now I can give you an absolutely really good review about it. It is the new Laura Geller Filter First Foundation Fundamentals. Try saying that 5 times through. 3-piece collection. I have the shade Ivory, which is the lightest on the spectrum, and as I said, I have literally been trying this out. This came Tuesday and I've been trying it out ever since, and I have to say I'm really super impressed with this. So with a lot of things like this, I just kind of run in head first, knowing not a great deal about them. All I knew was it was a new foundation, I had to try it, and here is what you get in the box. This is a luminous foundation that dries matte on your skin, and I don't know much about it. I'll be really honest with you. I kind of went, oh, it's a new Laura Geller foundation, I gotta try that. All I went into with this knowing was that it had to be better than that double baked liquid, because that was just not good. Like, I'm not here to slate Laura Geller Cosmetics, but that was not a good foundation. And if you've been here a while, you know that I am very frank and honest with you. If I do and don't like something, I'm not going to sit there and say, oh, that was amazing, if I don't like the product. The Twice Baked was bad. It was like an oil slick. The colours were bad, and it just didn't last. That literally went back. I remember that going back. But this is very nice. I have been using this, as mentioned, since Tuesday about 4 times, and I have to be honest, I forgot completely that you're supposed to shake the thing before you use it. Now, in QVC demos, they've showed applying it with a brush. Most specifically, I believe they've shown you applying it with this brush. This came, funnily enough, with the aforementioned Twice Baked foundation, but I will not be using this. With a lot of products, I always sit there and go, watch it, try it, but go and find your own way about it. And that's what I do. I have really gotten into the wet beauty blender. Unfortunately, I've become part of that tribe, and I do find that this really has worked well for this. I find in general with a wet beauty blender, because it's wet and it's damp, as the water's drying on the skin, it really locks the foundation in place. Hence why I love these so much. This is my Tarte one, and I do actually kind of need to replace it. It's a little bit damaged on the bottom now because I've used it so much. This came with the Shape Tape concealer. I may have another one in the top box, but if you're wanting to use a blender and you don't have one of these, and let's face it, actual beauty blenders are upwards of about 14 or 16 quid, a hell of a lot of money if you ask me, try buying the number 7 one. Which is this little guy right here. Do excuse it, it has been cleaned, but it does just stain. So it has this lovely point, which I love because it gets right up in your under eye, and it has this flat side here, which is great for the face. Really expands well once it's wet, and does a great job for only £7. So when you think about this, number 7 is always on 3 for 2, so you could get 3 of these for the price of 1 beauty blender. Give it a go, guys, honestly. I talk about that one a lot because I love it so much. I would never highly recommend you something if I thought it was rubbish. I really love that sponge. I'm just trying this one. I have prepped and primed my skin. We are in Bare Minerals prime time today. It's actually cooled down in Britain. I think it's only about 20 degrees today, and there is not a spot of sun in the sky. It is belting down with rain, and I bet the whole country is rejoicing. You're also going, great rain. The country's never happy, is it, guys? Let's face it. We finally get the rain that we all want, and we're probably all sitting there moaning about it again. Tangent in a little bit. That is one of my more, I feel, matte-based primers that actually really stays in place. The other one is Professional, my second favourite, or Professional Pearl. This allegedly has a luminescent finish that I can't really sit here and say that I've noticed. Then again, I forgot to shake the damn thing, so it might be that now I've shaken it, it kind of comes out a little bit more luminescent. Now, the swatch of Ivory, I'll show you guys here, looks like this, and I'm going to rub it in so you can see it merge into my hand. In fact, now I've shaken that, the product feels completely different. So it marries really well into my hand. Adding the blender on. So for little zombie vampires like myself, it's a very flattering shade, and you will notice as well, alright, I've used a pretty big pump, but how well that's covered compared to this hand. You can see a lot of the veinies in this hand. On this one, they're very well covered up. So the initial feel of this is that the coverage is great. One thing to mention about this foundation, and it's something that a lot of other vloggers have mentioned, it does oxidize slightly. Not to the extent that Kat Von D's Lock-It does, as I've discovered. If anyone wants me to talk about Lock-It foundation, let me know, because I have just got that recently. And I do have a few things to say about it, mostly positive, but there are other things I want to mention. I was initially going to go for porcelain in this, and it turned out that ivory was the lightest shade, and me being me, it's like, right, buy the lightest shade because that's the one I'm comfortable in. It oxidizes to a degree, but not to a degree where it looks super dark on your face. Oxidizing means it darkens and naturally reacts to the light, which causes it to darken. Not to a bad point. It does not make me look orange in a couple of hours. It just darkens ever so slightly. It's also at times a little bit more liquidy than I was initially thinking. Like, I watched none of the tutorials for this when it was on QVC on, was it Sunday? Sunday. I ordered it Saturday or the Friday night. I literally watched nothing. I literally went into it with a blank mind. I wasn't actually able to capture any or view any of them because I think I was really busy on that Sunday. It was back to work day as well. So I didn't really get to see it and experience it as usual with me. Jump in head first, try it yourself, see what you think. I always say with tutorials, all right, the pros know what they're doing, but it's like IT Cosmetics. I've talking to a few people recently who've had trouble with IT Cosmetics by Under Eye, which I am wearing on my under eyes today. But the tutorial and the demo given when it's on TV, I don't necessarily believe works. I always say go around it your own way, try and find a way of working it. Let's get on with the demo. Now, in terms of the lipstick and the mascara, we are going to talk about these once I've done this. But I just really wanted to, obviously this is the hero product, this is what we're all here to try. So my method for applying this is I will go one drop. That's how much I've applied for one cheek. And then I will come over to the other side, one drop. For my forehead, and I'm looking in a mirror here, I do two because this is a slightly big surface area that does have a few ghoulies on it. And for this area, I'm going to do a few more sparse pumps. That just dripped on my leg. And then my nose. Again, I'm kind of controlling what comes out a little bit. So this is all I will need for one layer. As mentioned, I have Bye Bye Under Eye on my under eyes. Beyond that, I have used no other concealer. So we have a few red locations going on here. I've got a couple on my forehead, one specific one here. So it's really going to give you a good idea of just how well the foundation covers. As mentioned, it is a little bit more, it's a little bit lighter than I thought. I thought it was going to be not thick to the extent of Becca, but it's, alright, thinking on a spectrum, it's slightly thicker than Bare Minerals' Bare Pro, that thing. I just had to look at the name of it for a sec, I completely forgot. It's slightly thicker than that, not as thin as that, but it's not a runny consistency either. It's really hard to explain, it's just a little bit more liquidy than I think I was anticipating. So I take the flat edge of this beauty blender. I'm just going to dab, dab, dab everything. Always come under your chin. You don't want a horrible line. Oh, the nosy posy. I always say nosy posy. How the frick old am I? I said frick, guys, not the other one. Although I always say I'm not necessarily a tweens videographer, I don't curse. I try not to. Seconds, and we have a blank base that I am going to blend out again with my Tarte brush, which is the one that came with Amazonian clay, that thing. This is like my hero brush. Like, I would buy this brush again and again and again. I just smooth this over and just make sure I get rid of any kind of like sponge lines or marks, anything that might create an imperfection in the skin, basically. So that's our one layer applied, and the great thing with this is that you can double it up and it doesn't look or feel heavy if you do. Settling on my skin, it does say it settles matte. It is a slight bit sticky at the minute. We're going to give that a few minutes just to wear in. How does it feel? It does not feel heavy in any way. In fact, it feels very light, but I would think if you were applying Instagram style amounts of foundation, which is normally ludicrous amounts, quite frankly, what that has done initially is completely evened out my skin tone, but it has not necessarily covered up all the living evils going on. So we can still see a little bit of redness going on. As I always say with a foundation, do not judge it on first application. Go away, sit down, make a drink, leave it about 20 minutes, half an hour, and then come back and look at it, because once your skin has truly soaked it up, it will really, really get in there and cover things. But I do find that 2 layers works better than 1 in this particular foundation. In terms of how it's called filter first, and the idea is that obviously it's like a filter foundation, that would mean that you never had to apply any kind of filter on your camera, that your skin would just be like camera ready, perfect. I definitely get that feeling with this, like looking at it in the back mirror behind my camera, which is how I see how many minutes I've used and whatnot. I can definitely see that my skin looks perfected, and it looks so even. It's also getting into like a lot of my pores, like my nose here, which is obviously evil. And then I have a lot of small, so this is It Cosmetics that I've got to buff again, like, 'cause it's already hit into my baby line there. And also going down like this, don't judge It Cosmetics when I come down like this, because it's just the lighting, it looks awful. It has literally gotten right into any big pores I have, particularly around this area and this area, and really covered them up well. So from that aspect, yeah, it's totally great. I was going to say to you, I'll read what it claims on the box, but there's nothing written on the tube for me to really give you anything. I can read you the back of the box though. It's hashtag no filter needed after blending on our pearl infused light diffusing filter first luminous foundation powered by LumiSmooth technology. The foundation creates the perfect canvas for most effortlessly radiant look. All you have to do is add a coat of lash plumping mascara and a swipe of lip colour to complete your look. I would actually add eyebrows and eyeliner in that as well, but that's just my everyday style. So let's do one more layer, and again I'm just going to repeat exactly what I showed you a minute ago. Drop, drop. For the second pump I'm only going to use 1 pump on my forehead. I'm more careful on my chin because I'm worried about like dropping it right onto, oh that's really weird on my nose like that, that's so uncomfortable, I can just feel it trickling down, it's horrible. I'm always worried about like dripping it all the way down my neck or my top. So again we're going to use the same method. And I just feel like the second layer, although I'm not adding it completely thickly, really makes the magic of the foundation work. The only thing I would personally say is I can't see its luminous powers. And with 2 layers applied, it's really covered a lot of that redness. We've still got a peep there and a peep there, but obviously it's still settling in the skin. The one thing I will say is with a double layer, it takes a lot longer to really settle into the skin. I do my normal, which is I just used a small flick of Bake Balance and Brighten, or Bake Balance and Glow. Again, say it 3 times fast, guys. I just used 1 quick, I'm barely putting it in the product there. This just acts as like a setting powder. I'm not using loads at all. I'm using 1 dab with a big Real Techniques brush and just settling it in. And that just, as I say, really helps it settle in and mattify. It definitely does set as a matte foundation. To me, it's not a dewy foundation, but it's just, I just look at that now, like sitting back looking at that in my mirror, and my skin looks phenomenal. Like it's got the power of some of the better full coverage foundations. Like that to me is almost as powerful as Kat Von D, and I've only just got the Kat Von D Lock-It foundation, but I can just see how good my skin looks sitting here. Like so much is covered. I can't even see any pits in my nose, which to me, even at the age of 28, where obviously I'm hopefully getting out of the pimple stage because I'm nearly 30 and all that jazz, but it really covers. And I can't put in words how amazing it looks. I mean, everyone's going to have a different opinion. Some of you are going to put this on and go, this is absolutely awful. A lot of you are going to put this on and go, that's absolutely amazing. The one thing I am going to do is I'm going to selfie it. Oh, bye. And see how it comes out. And I'm not a selfie queen. Ooh, Spectrum's Minnie Mouse collection. I'm going to have a look at that later. I'm not a selfie queen by any standards, but obviously we want to see how that's going to come out as a picture. Now, even in a selfie, that comes out so well, and I do not know how to use any filter of any kind. That is just the raw photo you've just seen me take, and it photographs amazingly. Now, this is the one thing I can talk to you guys about right now, is its lasting power. So the first day I got this on the Tuesday, I applied it just one layer and one flick of BBB. I'm not going to try and say that again. And it barely moved. The one thing I do get, and obviously bear in mind that Tuesday and Wednesday have been super, super hot and humid days, the one thing I do get is shiny. Oil doesn't necessarily come and rise to the surface. Obviously my room at work is particularly hot and humid. I'm under metal, and the heat just rises, and hot heat. So the one thing I've gotten even in double layer is shiny. But I can't say as though I've been sticky, I can't say as though I have been oily, I can't say as though it's even made me feel sweaty. I feel like that's kept at bay. I have not touched up my foundation in 2 days, and I always, when I'm in that room at work, and it's not even that I use it to touch up, I take my powder almost to use as a sweat blotter, and I'm not being gross there, but that's what Bake Balance and Glow always does for me. It always sort of helps mattify. I have not had to touch this once. Like, even in an hour, if I come back, I will have no collection in my nose, which is something that every foundation, however much I love it, does to me. Get an hour down the line and I've got to have a quick flick through with a dry brush because I'm already starting to collect. I have noticed none of that in the 2 days that I've used that, which is amazing. Like, that just kicks serious ass that does that. None of it phased or did fur, as I call it. None of it faded, none of it pixelated, none of it evaporated. It literally stayed exactly where I left it after like at least nearly 12 hours wear both days. It did not budge. And that is absolutely amazing. Like, I would not sit here and say to you that this was good if I did not think so. But literally, if I run out of this, I will gladly, even at this early stage, go and pay £26 for another one. My skin sitting here now with nothing else on it looks amazing. It's flattering, it sits well, it sets well, it lasts well. But rather than kissing up to this foundation, I'm going to show you quickly the last 2 products that came in this set. So we have a vanilla lip butter. Is it lip butter? It's a vanilla lipstick, it's called, but it's basically a neutral natural pink that every skin tone anywhere can wear. I do love this lipstick. I'm going to apply it for you guys so you can see it. Please bear in mind my lips are super, super dry, and obviously me being pale, it will look a slight bit darker on me, but it is a lovely neutral lip colour that is actually super hydrating on the lip. Probably not as hydrating as my Lizzo or my Esper lip oil. Very natural colour, not too much that you couldn't wear it every day, but also not too much that if you had a slightly darker eye that you couldn't wear it with that as well. The last thing we have is, I believe, is it Glam Lash? Glam Lash. I'm going to apply it for you right here, right now, so you can see. So that's about all I would apply for every day. It's about 2 coats, 2 and a bit on this side because this is my problem. I'm going to point this down so that you can see the length that the mascara gives, and hope that you've got that in shot because I can't actually see right now at all. I wouldn't go crazy about it. I wouldn't go, oh my god, it's the best mascara in the world. It's okay. Will I use it up? Yeah. It's a little bit clumpy on the edges. I had to go over this a couple of times just to make sure there were no big clumps on the edges, but it does remove really well. That's the one thing I will say. Sometimes you get mascaras like Benefit and you love them to pieces, but when it comes time to actually remove the things, they're a pain in your jacksy. This isn't like that. Although it's not the best length, it does come off really well, which is always a must with a mascara. All right, you want it to go on well and lengthen your lashes, but you also want the thing to come off well too. Would I buy it again? No. This is the one thing I will say. I would not, literally, if I was going out to buy an everyday mascara, necessarily immediately think of this one. So now it's been on my face for probably a good, well, pretty much since I've been here yapping and jabbering on, basically. It's settled in really well, and I keep looking at my skin because I've used, as said, I've put no concealer over any of the ugly bits on my face right now, other than my under eyes, which doesn't count because you shouldn't really put foundation under your eyes unless you want to, you know, do what you want with makeup, guys. It still looks natural. It doesn't look heavy, bearing in mind I've put on 2 layers. It's super comfortable and it looks amazing. It's honestly, I really do, even at this early stage, recommend this foundation. Like, if you tried this, I hope you're as happy as I am. If you're thinking about buying this, go for it. I think that a lot of Debenhams and stores have just got it in. I know Beauty Bay has it. QVC still has this as an individual purchase, so if you're dubious and really do want to give it a go, but you don't want to get stuck with it if you don't like it, buy it on QVC, because as mentioned, you can return it. I say it all the time. You can send the thing back if you don't like it. That's the amazing thing with QVC. But the set as a whole, being, I think it was $29.98. I think it was $14.99, 2 payments. Very good value, even if you just wanted these 2 pieces and had no particular interest in this. For these 2 alone, fabulous buy. Kit as a whole, fantastic. In love with the foundation, completely in love with it, like really in love with it. I'm gonna stop jabbering on and kissing ass. Thanks everyone for being here and watching this demo review, first impression, whatever you want to call it. I'm in love with the foundation, can you tell? Let me know how you've gotten on with this foundation, if you like it, if you don't. Do you want any tips on how to apply? Because literally, as I've shown you, is pretty much the way I apply every foundation these days. I don't do that much differently because I've found my comfort zone and how I like to apply it. But if you'd like to see me try a different method, if you'd like to see me use the brush as it was demoed and see how I get on with that, let me know. If you don't like it, why not? Did it not work for you? I'm guessing it's not going to work for everyone, because I've tried things that don't work for me but everyone else raves about them. It's personal preference and also skin type as well, and I have an oily sensitive skin type, in case anyone's wondering. Let me know. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Love to have you join the party. If not, thanks for viewing and I'll see you all again, or not. Bye.